Hi everybody, hope we're doing all right today, and welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesday, where I am coming live for my practice, as you can tell. So just finished on-call clinic, not too bad, been an okay day, busy to start off with, but settling down. And yeah, recovering from busy week. So over the weekend was nice and fun, but prior to that we had our System 1 Facebook Online Users Summit, and that was awesome but exhausting, I must admit. And over this time I've been processing all the video footage, which many of the attendees that went will get access to tomorrow. So we've got about 70% of it processed and things, and just to make it available, it's going live. If you are interested in seeing the recordings, you're welcome to do so. We'll be putting out the information on how you can access that as well if you weren't able to register for the event. But if you have registered, don't worry, you'll get all the details in your email inbox and stuff and things. And then that's all in preparation before tomorrow's big event, where we're doing a digital first providers guide with various different companies that are supporting us in terms of sharing how they use online consultations, various other things to help practices. So we'll be joined by Accurix, Ask My GP, eConsult, Engage Consult, Clinic Healthcare, and TPP System 1. And in addition to that, we've got Dr. Minal Bakay from NHS England/I, who's going to be facilitating the session and talking about how digital first primary care has been changing the landscape of general practice. So definitely join us for that. If you can't, it is going to be available on YouTube afterwards, but if you get to join us, you get to ask your questions live, hopefully. We've got loads already submitted, so we are going to ask those, but definitely going to try and make sure we've got time to answer your questions in that session. And then on Friday, I've got a session with Dr. Serena Chiba from My Locum Manager, and we're going to be talking about how locums can be supported in the current environment, some tips and stuff. So things about finance, how to get jobs, and in addition, some of the tech stuff. And that's what you're here for, hopefully today, to see the tech stuff and stuff. And I wanted to talk about a particular tool I've been using more recently to try and help me. I've talked about these kind of tools in the past, and I've used different ones over the past year or so, and now finally settled on one I actually really enjoy using and that works quite well and stuff. But effectively, I'm talking about a scheduling tool. So there are various different versions of these kind of equipments, software and stuff around. But effectively, we're talking about software that allows you to directly book your calendar without having to worry about it. So what am I talking about? Well, common companies that do this are things like Calendly, Doodle, and the one that I currently use called Harmonizely. And these are softwares that allow you to basically integrate a booking system within your own calendar. And therefore, as a result of that, you can show people when you're available just by sending them a link. And then that lets them book in, sort it out, and you're done. It's as simple as that. And the reason why I love this software, and I really do recommend it to many people as a productivity tool, is simply there's none of the back and forth in terms of, I'm free here, you're free there, how can we make this work, when's going to, there's none of the back and forth communications or emails. It's very simply, this is when I'm free. Here you go. Well, what am I talking about? Well, let's show you, shall we? So I'm going to show you what it looks like if I was to do that. So let me get my screen share going and pop that up. And let's go to that. So as you can see here, we've got my screen share, and this is what you can see. So this is the back end of my Harmonizely account. I've got various different meetings types that I have. So I've got phone meetings, I've got PCN meetings, and I've got the EGP learning stuff that I do. And you can set whatever kind of detail you need. So if we go into my PCN ones, for example, so let's edit that so you can see what it looks like from the back end. So name of the meetings, bookings of the meetings I have. These are typically 60-minute ones that I tend to block, so I've got time to do things. And it's got links, it's got whether or not what type of meeting. So I've currently set all of these to be Zoom meetings because at the moment I'm not really doing many face-to-face kind of stuff. And this will then automatically integrate my Zoom account and then create a meeting within Zoom. So then I've got the links and everything to do that. You can add other stuff if you want to. The availability is really important. So this then I specify exactly when I'm available for these kind of meetings, because the PCM work I do is only on specific days and I try and maintain that as best as I can. So this is typically on a Friday or a Thursday where I would be available, and then this allows people to book into those. I can ask questions beforehand. So what's the reason for the meeting and how long do you anticipate this meeting is going to be for? The common questions I like to add. Notifications and stuff. So this will then send me an email notification once somebody's booked and give them details of what to do and also how to reschedule if we need to and cancel some things, how I want my reminders and then additional stuff. If needs be, this can be things like minimum booking notice. So I anticipate I need at least a day's notice before these meetings happen. It will only let you book 6 weeks in advance because I don't like to book too far in advance in case I want to take a holiday or something like that. And also allows you to put buffer times in for the meetings. Now, this is generally more relevant for travel, which is less of an issue with Zoom meetings, but also if you've got shorter meetings and you want to make sure you're not overbooking yourself, then this can be relevant. And you can then have start time increments and that kind of stuff and where it takes them afterwards once they're done. But what does it look like from the user perspective? Well, it looks something like this. So if you were to go to my link, this will be showing you what kind of options you've got if you want to book a meeting with me. So I'll send you a link. This one's actually for the telephone call one. So this will show you that on Friday and Wednesday, I've got some availability to have a quick telephone call. So if I was to click on the Wednesday one, for example, I'll show you the time slots that I'm actually available for a quick phone call, can book, and then that will let you do that from there. And it's as simple as that. So from the user's perspective, the other person, it's literally a couple of clicks and they'll ask the questions, so enter your full name, enter your email address and the telephone number if you want to, and what's the reason for this call. Those are the questions I ask, schedule, and that will book it into my calendar. I'll then get an email notification say it's been booked, who's done it, all that information. So if for some reason I've realized, oh, actually that's really bad, I can't do that, I can contact them and say, really sorry, can't do that. Or I get a reminder that actually I need to make sure I've prepared for this meeting and that kind of stuff from there. And it works. That's the cool thing about it. There are a couple of things you need to know. So in terms of setting this up, when it comes to using it within your own calendar, so I use Google Calendar, you need to make sure that you don't have everything set to busy because that's how it knows when you're available. So if you're putting other things into your calendar, then you need to make sure that that's not a factor. So one of the reasons I couldn't quite figure out why it wasn't working is I have a calendar that shows me all the various different social media stuff coming up, so like awareness days and that kind of thing. And that became a bit of a problem because effectively what happened is that it blocked out all my calendar. I couldn't see why it wasn't working. And then I realized that it's because it automatically set all those to busy, so therefore I had no spare time. So once I adjusted those and made them available, and that meant the rest of my time that wasn't already booked for other things was available. Additionally, if you've got shared calendars, so I have a calendar, for example, with my wife, I have a shared calendar with my practice in terms of annual leave, you need to make sure you import those onto your own personal calendar that's linked with the software to therefore mean that you don't end up accidentally booking 2 things at the same time. It's not that complicated, but it's important you recognize those. And where is this useful in primary care? Well, clearly, if you're a portfolio doctor, being able to know when you're available and have availability is important. And that can be whether you're working in multiple jobs or even as a locum. To be honest, this could be a really good system for locums to use to book in terms of their clinics when they're available and things. So you just send the practice the link and it's got all the details. And you can ask what type of clinics do you want me to do? What times do you need me to be available for? All that kind of stuff. And then they fill that in. And actually, if you turn around, well, I don't really like that. Sorry, I'm going to change that. Can we rearrange that and adjust it in that way? And I think it works really, really well. And overall, I think it's a really good system. I think there is potentially for locums, possibly other software that's more effective at doing some of that, in the sense of it does extra things. So things like My Locum Manager does loads of extra stuff for the amount that you would end up paying for if you use this kind of thing. But if you wanted just something that did this tool, yeah, these tools are amazing. And I've been a big fan of them. I used to use Calendly, as I mentioned earlier. I've now transferred over to this one called Harmonizely, which I would really recommend to people. It's easy to use and it's got integration with various different things, including recently MS Teams, which, as many of you know, with us now having access to across the NHS, is a really big thing. So I think that's going to be really useful to many people. And if you are interested in getting it, have a look at my link down below that you can use to grab access to it and things, and that can get you access to for free if you want to. There is a free account, or if you wanted to pay for it. The reason you may want to pay is if you've got multiple meeting types like I have there. So I've got 3 different meeting types at present. The free account only allows you to have 1 meeting type, which may be all you need, in which case the free account is awesome for that. But I really do think these kind of softwares can be effective for many people. I do recommend it to many of my clinical directors. I know a couple of my clinical director colleagues have also taken on these kind of softwares as well, because it just works. It's so easy and there's no stress. And you know what, if there is a really important meeting that I do need to adjust my availability for outside of these kind of times, fine, I will do that, because they'll come back to me and say, I'm really sorry, there's no availability till whenever. So for example, I'm off in a couple of weeks. My availability over that 6-week period, a little bit less as a result of that. But that's fine. I've got better control of my time, which is the most valuable thing to all of us, isn't it? It's important to remember to value your time. And what I also like about this is it also categorizes my time. It says to people that actually, this is the only time I'm available for. If we can't work around that, I'm afraid, that's how it's got to be, I'm afraid. So we had a question in the chat. Can I share the social media awareness calendar I use? Yeah, happy to. So I use a website called Awareness Days. They allow you to download their calendar. It is at cost. So I paid £40, I think, for a year's worth of the stuff. And it's good. Learning my lesson, I would allocate it to a specific calendar on my Google Calendar that I can switch on and off, so then I don't have to go back and change everything, because it works through an ICS format. So that basically means that once you've downloaded it, it dumps everything in one big go, so it's hard to adjust retrospectively. But it's really good. The website's really good. The only downside is it's got metered access, so once you've accessed it a few times, it says actually we're not going to let you check out any more pages. So it's important to recognize those things, but I like it for the fact that it gives me information as to what's coming up in terms of, for example, when is cervical cancer awareness week, when is, epilepsy week, all those kind of things. And then I can use that information for understanding campaigns within the practice website that we need to do and that kind of stuff, which I think is really good. An alternative to that I would really recommend as well is a group called Practice Index. So they are a company that supports practice managers in particular, and they do a lot of the social media posting and support practices with that as well, and that can be really effective and things. So definitely worth checking out if you're interested in those kind of options. And I've covered those before in some context, but yeah, definitely either Awareness Days or Practice Index, give them a check out and stuff, and they'll be able to give you the content that you kind of want and need. Anyway, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this session. Brief one today, talking about the kind of tools and things that hopefully will help you. I would really recommend, if you're not using a scheduling software and you've got multiple roles, to be fair, even in your personal life, it can be really useful. Then definitely check out these kind of tools. My personal one, like I said, is Harmonizely. As I said, that is an affiliate link down here. Don't have to use it. If not, just search for it and stuff. Alternatively, Calendly is a very good software. The only reason I went to Harmonizely is it's a little bit cheaper, and it does the same job effectively. Alternately, Doodle polls do a similar version. Interesting, if you're looking at groups, that's where it becomes more interesting. So you could create this for groups and have group bookings that works really effectively as well. I know we looked at doing that for our PCN colleagues, so not just within my PCN, but the various PCNs working together for group bookings. But it was felt that was going to be too cumbersome for some people, and that there was a slight issue with Calendly working with NHS.net email accounts. I don't think that's a problem now, and like I said, it definitely Harmonizely integrates with Outlook, with Google Calendars, as well as iCalendars, and more recently MS Teams, which hopefully will be a lot better once we get full access. Want full access, please. All right, guys, I hope you found that useful. As always, if you've got any comments and questions, more than happy to try and answer them as best as I can, whichever I can. Definitely leave me a comment down below. I'd love it if you could do that. I know we've had a couple of comments already. Thank you for those. And as always, EGP Learning is here to help save you and your patients time by taking enhancing your primary care and learning. Catch you in the next episode.